Hey, my name is John. Welcome to Mr. G's Workbench. Today we're going to start a build review of this kit right here. This is Kitty Hawk's MiG-25PU, NATO name foxbat-c. It's 1/48 scale. It's from Kitty Hawk. It was kindly sent to me by Jim over at Kitmaker. One of the web pages is Aeroscale. I'll have a link to that website in the description below. Rather than bore you with another inbox review where we just look at sheets of plastic, how about we do a build review where we look at the parts involved in each step as we go along. We'll assemble them, we'll make observations, and we'll move on. We'll see what we wind up with at the end. All right, let's start out straight with the instruction manual. It's a typical Kitty Hawk instruction manual. Color pictures on the front. A series of diagrams. You have a parts map here, and then each step is spelled out. In the middle you have color profiles, which I'll pull out of the book at some point, and we'll have to pick one. Let's see what we get for step one. So, all right, step one, we're going to be assembling one of the cockpits. Step two is going to be the second cockpit. This is the trainer version. So there's no radar installed, apparently. That was the big difference. Plus the two pilots. So let's take a look at each of these. We'll see what we have. So each of the variants put out by Kitty Hawk of the MiG-25 comes with different resin add-ons, different special parts. For the PU, you're going to get 2 resin cockpits and pilot figures, as well as resin landing gear. But let's start out. We're on step one. We're going to take a look and we'll compare what we're getting here to what the instructions show us. So the resin, it doesn't feel very resiny, if you know what I mean. It almost feels like a vinyl, but it's got a little give to it, not too much. Very well detailed. I think you can see that. So that's the back wall of the cockpit. This is the front cockpit. This is the back wall. This is the cockpit pan. Let's see if we can get that to focus. The detail is actually pretty good. I mean, considering they're giving you the resin in the box. The side walls of the cockpit. Pretty good. And the other one, that's the other side wall. The instrument panel actually looks pretty good. And this is like aftermarket quality detail in this, if you can see that. I think you can. So that's the instrument panel. You're going to get 2 pilot figures. They're in the pressure suits. Ivan 1 here, he's ready to go. Again, I don't know who does the casting for Kitty Hawk, but I mean that is really good. I mean, that's better than some stuff you pay $10 for, you know, for a pilot figure. So that's going to be the cockpit for step 1. Since we're here, we might as well take a look at the cockpit for step 2. Got to paint them all together anyway. Same thing, you get nicely detailed cockpit pan. Focusing. Nicely detailed cockpit pan with raised details. The back wall of the rear cockpit. Come on, focus. There we go. Again, nice detail. Rear instrument panel. There we go. That's the rear instrument panel. Again, really nicely detailed. I'm very impressed with that. And then the side walls. Again, nice detail on the side walls too. And then Ivan 2. Still has a little pour stub attached. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't feel like it's very dry. It doesn't feel gritty, but it just doesn't feel like other resins. So I don't know what they do with this, but there you go. There it is. That's Ivan too. And each of them is in a different position, which that's a nice touch. They're not going to look the same. So let's get everything prepped and painted. I'll come back and we'll have the first two steps assembled, and we'll take a look and see what we think. Now, before we go into step 3, I just wanted to give you an example of some poor kit engineering. These are parts G34 and G35, which are meant for the nose gear bay, and they're small, delicate parts that are molded in with these enormous sprues. I already broke 34 trying to cut off one end of it. I'm gonna do my best. I'll probably try and use a razor saw to cut this one off. See if I can at least get one in one piece. Okay, now that the cockpits are finished, now we're on to step 3, the nose gear bay. Let's take a quick look at the parts, the kind of quality you get with it. There's the ceiling of the nose gear bay. It's H11, and we got that. These are all the same sprue H, well, tree H, are the same parts that were in the original MiG-25PU kit. So the details there. Nobody's ever going to look at it again, honestly, unless you want to really get crazy and put a mirror underneath it. So you've got those, and we've got the little tiny parts. These were G34 and G35. Now here's where I'm going to deviate from the instructions. This is the nose gear that they give you in resin. I mean, it looks nice enough. Let me see if I can put something behind it. It looks nice enough. The details there, but let me show you something. It's got so much flex in it. How is that possibly going to hold the weight of this kit when it's done? You know, in the original MiG-25 kit that Kitty Hawk put out, they gave you metal inserts for the landing gear because they knew it was going to be weak. But yet here they've decided they thought they were giving you a treat with these resin gear legs, but no way on earth am I using this. So what I'm doing is, instead of using this resin gear leg, which we were just looking at, so I'm going off track here with this. I'm not going to use that resin gear leg. Instead, I'm going to use the kit part H13. This was the original main gear leg from the original MiG-25 kit they put out. It'll slot in right here. You just got to kind of get it in as far as it goes. Glue it. Maybe fill that little ejector pin mark. But this is going to be way better than the resin piece. The resin piece would have, Kitty Hawk would have you slot this in on the sides here. You'd have to do it now, and still it doesn't have any strength to it, so why would you use that? So let me show you where we're at. This is eventually going to be the front cockpit. I know it's hard to see much of anything on this because it's kind of small. shadowing. Let's see if we can zoom in on it. Came out all right. Details, like I said, were good. And I'll show you the paint I used. I think it's a little too green for my taste. This was the paint I used for the cockpits. It was MiG's acrylic interior turquoise green. I think it's a little too turquoisey, but that's what I used. Here's the rear cockpit. Sorry, I'm no cinematographer. Here you go. So those are done. That's step 1 and step 2. Step 3 was the nose gear bay. There it is. Like I said, I'm not putting in the gear leg until I have to, which isn't going to be until after it's finished. So it's painted. It's just painted aluminum. They say silver in the instructions. I used Vallejo's aluminum, and I kind of like it. It sprays a little inconsistent, but the color is good. So we got that. And that takes us to step 4. Step 4 is going to have us take the forward cockpit, the 2 mid-front fuselage sides, and the nose gear bay. And we're going to put them together. And then Kitty Hawk has kindly told us to add weight. G. Weight. They're not telling us how much weight. They do provide this big ball bearing for the nose weight. That was also in the MiG-25 PD boxing. So I'm going to trust that that is enough weight that I don't have to add more. So let's try and put together that step 4, and that'll wrap us up for today. All right. So here we have F13 and F14. Those are the mid-front fuselage sides. So you can see the intakes will be here, and there's framing in here so we can locate everything. Alright, so here we are. This is basically step 4 completed. That's the rear cockpit. It's been inserted into the 2 fuselage halves. Well, it's the front fuselage half. Make sure that when you put this resin cockpit in, make sure that the tabs are seated securely in these tabs on the sides of the fuselage. Otherwise, you're going to get gaps on top. Okay, see, this is a pretty good fit. The openings, the little openings for the canopy, line up with the openings on the fuselage. And then, since this was part of the resin cockpit in step 5, you won't be putting in H15, which would have been the cowling for the instrument panel. So you won't be doing that. The fit's not bad. You can see this is going to get covered. There's a piece that's going to go over that. Bottom isn't that bad. I'm going to clean that up when I eventually add the nose on, which we're going to do in the next episode. All right, so far so good. We've got a decent start in 4 steps. Look, I know Kitty Hawk stuff, you either love it or hate it. They've got a good selection of subjects. They just have a poor approach to their models. Let's see what we can make out of this one. And the other thing that I wanted to point out here, when you're putting in the nose gear bay, make sure that you center it, because it's not going to fit tightly. There's a little gap here at the bottom. You're not going to see it after you put the doors in, but just make sure you center it in the tabs that it lines up within the fuselage. All right. Hope that made sense. Hope you like what you saw. If you did like what you see, like and subscribe. This way you'll be ready for the next episode. If there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments. If there's any observations you want to make, if you built this kit and you know something I don't know, then by all means, let me know in the comments. All right. Till next time, thanks for stopping by.